So, oh, I seem to be stuck in the drawing mode. So same problem, multiple solutions. So Christopher, I'm going to ask your opinion on this one.
Okay.
We have 3 different ways of printing text over multiple lines. Which do you like best?
So kind of going back to, that whole, so we've got multiple ways that we could do something. What's the best way? You know, for me, I really like that first one there, just that print, and I know that gets maybe a little bit more verbose.
Yep.
But, you know, that just seems to make more sense to me.
Yeah, it's easier to read when you come back to it later, isn't it?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have met people who they seem to make almost a game out of seeing how much code they can fit into a single line. I have met coders who just live for cramming as much as they can into a single line. They're going to absolutely go for the option of using the \n to save on having to hit the return key. I mean, I guess maybe that's their way of being a lazy programmer. I respect everyone's right to be a lazy programmer their own way, but still include your comments.
Yep.
I would stay away from the triple quotes one just because it's not common. And that way, if somebody's coming from another programming language or you're going to another programming language later, you're not going to be able to keep that pattern.
Right. Yeah. And this is, you know, sort of going back to the very beginning that, you know, when we first kind of pitched all of this, the whole goal here is to help you get into programming. So not necessarily get into programming Python, but get into programming. And a lot of the concepts that we're going to be learning, you know, loops and if statements and all of that are consistent across every programming language. Will allow you to store a variable. There will be different ways that that you can do that, but you are going to notice that every language has its idiosyncrasies, has its own little quirks, and as a result, you'll want to kind of pay attention to those. And I don't want to necessarily always say steer away from those because a lot of times those idiosyncrasies can be quite helpful.
Sometimes they allow you to do things that would be very difficult to do in another language.
Exactly.
But in this case, we have easy alternatives that are more common. So stick with the more conventional way of doing it, I would recommend in this case.
Yep.
Yeah.
A lot of people love the triple quotes, though.
It's neat.
Yeah,
I'm getting a
lot
funky
of
trick.
comments here. Yeah, love the,
Yeah, it's funny you said, but it's a neat, funky trick. I'd never seen it before I saw Python.
Yep.
There's another one that said, and that really is it. As a coder, one of the things you want to be aware of, there's often more than one way to solve the same problem.
Yep.
And a lot of times, it doesn't matter whether you use the /n. In the end, if the code works, you've done it. Awesome. Celebrate.
Yeah.
And I don't, in the end, that's what matters. Did you solve the problem? Does your code work? And
Exactly.
if you've used an unconventional way of doing it, that's all right.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people really get kind of just very, it has to be done this way. And I don't really have time for those types of arguments. If it's clean, if it's easy to read, you know, that's really it. And even to kind of go one step further, maybe make this a little bit more advanced, a lot of times people start asking, well, you know, what about performance? And if I write it this way, will it perform better than if I write it this way? And 99 out of 100 times, and in fact, probably 99.999% of the time, it's not going to make a difference, or it's going to make such a minuscule difference that, quite frankly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So really, write the code that makes sense. Write the code that's clean, and go from there. So if we go back to the slide, do you still have your slide up? The one prior?
The geek tips or the
that
print
one
options?
Yeah. You know, choose the one that makes the most sense to you. Choose to me, it's print and print. You know, if you like the backslash, then go with the \n. Then go with the.
And if you really like the triple quotes, go for it.
Exactly.
It's your code.
Exactly. So, and if I can steal just one last second, only just to kind of answer a couple of questions here. That \/ is an escape character. So for quotes, those have a special meaning. If you don't want it to have that special meaning, put a \/ in front of it. So \single, \double. If you want that new line, again, \n, that tab, \t. What would happen if you wanted a \?
Let's find out. Let's try and write.
Let's do it.
Let's try it. That, you know what? And this is actually one of the other truths of coding.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have the answer to everything. You can't find it. Sometimes the easiest way to find out the answer is to try it. Can I just print a / on the screen? Because, if that's a special character, is that going to do something weird? Is that what you want?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's see what happens. No problem.
There you go.
So no worries. If you want to print a /, Just put a slash in the string.
Put a slash
actually
in there.
smart. It's actually Python, as we mentioned, is a fairly forgiving language. There's other programming languages where you'd actually have to go backslash, but not in Python.
You are going to notice at times you have to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will notice at times you are going to need that double backslash.
Yeah,
But if you just want, just in the middle of a, 2 spaces, just go ahead and do that. Otherwise, you would need the 2 backslashes.
Yeah.
So
The challenge that you're talking about would be a, let's talk about.
Yeah, like a file path.
But what if I want /n to appear
there you go.
on
That's
the screen?
Perfect.
/news, like I'm putting maybe a URL for a website.
Yeah.
Right, that I'm displaying. Someone go to this website, and the website happens to start with N.
Yep.
Oh, wait. Gee, could that possibly cause a problem?
I'm predicting an
Oh.
ooze. See, ew.
It's like I planned it, but I didn't. So yeah, there is a situation where the slash was misinterpreted. It took it as a /n, but I actually wanted to print the /n. But yeah, how do we tell it, don't treat it as a special character? What do we do with the single quote? You
Put in a
slash in front of
backslash.
it.
So we'll put in another backslash.
Which looks a little weird. You're looking at it, and this, you know what? This is a good time for a comment. I am inserting a // so the slash appears correctly
Yep.
in the string. So that's a perfect time to take a little note to yourself, because you're going to come back later and go, why do I have // And now when I run, there we go. Now I can get /news.
Backslash. Yep. There you go.
Cool. So great questions. Keep those things coming, because yes, those are exactly the kind of things that catch you when you're trying to write your code later. That's why practice is so important, so you can encounter these odd little problems and gradually learn how to solve them. Okay.